Welcome back to the nationally syndicated Price of Business Show. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. One of my favorite series that we do is Justice in the Law with J.L. Carpenter. It's a fun series that, has been inspired by the true crime craze that's so common today and so hot today. And almost all of these shows, they're fascinating. That's one of my favorite pastimes is watching these type of programming. But very few of them go into depth on what the courts are talking about, how lawyers are thinking, and how judges are thinking, and how things turn out the way they turn out. And that's the kind of stuff we do with JL. She's very well known, very established defense attorney who's also worked as a prosecuting attorney in her career. She brings that unique perspective that only an attorney can bring, and we love having her on the program. She's handled some major cases. It's not unusual for me to be watching news here in Houston and seeing in other cases she's been involved in, really with some extraordinary success. So we love having her as a resource. JL, welcome back as always. A little bit more about your practice, and then also make sure you mention your website.
Thanks, Kevin, and I love being a part of this series. It's so much fun. My website is jlcarpenterlaw.com. I practice criminal defense in the Harris County and contiguous county areas, Galveston County, Brazoria, Fort Bend County, serving the folks who I think are either misunderstood or falsely accused.
Yep, there you go. And there's a lot of both going on. Very, very interesting story that has Me Too implications. When I sat there and watched, it was extremely well done. It's Netflix, right? We saw it on Netflix, Killer
right.
Sally.
That's right.
Killer Sally. Everyone knows I have a preference for Netflix, although I love true crime, period. But when it comes to true crime, there's something special about Netflix and the way they do it. Killer Sally, fascinating story about a woman who killed her husband after being subject, according to her, to years of abuse, and it was in the middle of such abusive action, that she killed her husband. And the story is very thorough in the way it covers what happened, a lot of talk about what the attorneys were thinking about and what was being done, and it was very well done and very complicated story. And both her and her husband were very colorful characters, weren't they?
They sure were, and what an unfortunate character name in the beginning to be known as Killer Sally, and then have this as the ending of your story.
Absolutely. That was done it was kind of a shtick sort of thing, right? It was part of her marketing.
That's right. And, I think that's part of what was working against Killer Sally in this situation with her husband, was because she was a bodybuilder. She was large and muscular for a woman. She had a reputation of being aggressive. And then she has this, marketing scheme of being Killer Sally with these huge muscles and machine gun. And it's almost as if, well, you can't be that person and also a victim of domestic violence.
Right, exactly. And so all of this, as we were watching this, let's go ahead and get to the chase, because I want to have a conversation with you about, fast forwarding. This happened a couple of decades ago, and it got adjudicated where in the middle of a fight, she ends up shooting him. And in fact, the part that is really complicates things, because maybe today in 2022, him, she killing him would have led to her being acquitted if she only shot him once.
Right. So I think that was.
But she did not shoot him once, and that's the part I think that makes it very complicated.
Exactly. That was one of the complicating factors, was the fact that she shot him twice, and the forensics showed that the shotgun casing fell in a different room where the bullets were, so as if she walked back there to reload and come back and shoot a second time. Therefore, she's going over her self-defense, right? And the fact that he didn't have a weapon, but she did, that was another way that they were trying to get around the self-defense. And she said, but he was a weapon because he was also a bodybuilder and so big. But you and I talked about whether or not if this happened in 2022, would things be different? Well, I think we've grown a lot since then. This was in 1995 on our education about domestic violence. And I brought to your attention, there was a case in Harris County in the last week or two where a victim of domestic violence was struggling with a gun with her abuser, and it accidentally went off. The prosecution charged her with murder.
To hear her answer and to find out more about this case and how it's similar to Killer Sally, check out the links below.